Well, good Friday morning, everyone. Uh, Welcome to this morning's reading. Happy Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. I have lost track since Monday. so, but anyway, I'm looking forward to a weekend of much of the same. But just today's reading will be a little short because for the next 2 days, I don't want to skimp on the material for the next 2 days. But I wanted to show you something that I've had at my desk side for 48 years, or maybe 49. Uh, and it's an old oh, I did this drawing myself, and on the back I've got the Star of Babylon with an old picture of me with Mickey Mouse ears on it. But believe it or not, this is a magic in theory and practice. It's an old castle edition that I got about the time. I got it about the time our son was born in 1972. And this is the volume that I used and annotated and abused. Obviously, it's completely falling apart and held together with tape and such. But all of the marginal notes that I created and used in order for me to write The Magic of Aleister Crowley and the Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot, and just a whole lot of stuff. And it's been my Monday Night Magic class thing. I don't know if you can see every page has penciled in notes and things like that. And I was going through it because it's got some footnote or some bookmarkers, and there's one of the notes. You can gain enlightenment and still be a jerk. And then this Nokian ring from class fell out of the thing. Well, anyway, I thought I'd share that with you this morning. Before we continue, we've been going through the astrological ages, and we finally come up to the age of Aquarius that I've got here as roughly 2000 AD to 4166 AD. Now, this is the age of Aquarius, the astrological age of Aquarius. When at the equinoxes it appears that the sun has Aquarius behind it, or the house of Aquarius behind it. And so the sun, there's Aquarius and it filters through the sun to us. But facing right in back of us on that same pole is an unobstructed ray coming from Leo. And many people are, question why Crowley always associated his prophet type position as being a manifestation of Leo, the beast, Leo, and that's because of that. It's the age of Aquarius, Leo. Okay. So here's my comments on the age of Aquarius, pole of Aquarius, Leo. The gods of one age become the devils of the age to follow. The priests look forward to the coming age and see only the end of the world. Not being endowed with the gift of prophecy, I will not presume to predict the details of the Aquarian Age worship. I will nonetheless venture to predict that the gods of the Aquarian Age will be diametrically opposed to the gods of the Age of Pisces. Already all over the world we see the decay of the repressive patriarchal establishments that have held sway for the last 2,000 years. It's almost comical to see how foolish and myopic the old establishments appear when juxtaposed with the rational goals of universal human rights, the women's movement, and global environmental awareness. I'd like to remind you that I probably wrote this essay in 1994 or 1995. I suppose it's very natural for the participants of a revolution to despise and demonize the icons of the overthrown administration. The early Christian church perpetuated the legend that at the moment of Christ's birth, all the oracles of antiquity fell silent, and that an Egyptian sailor named Thomas heard an unearthly voice call to him from the Isle of Paxi, announcing, "Thomas, the great god Pan is dead." I got a footnote. The, quote, all-great Tammuz, the Babylonian sun god, who was killed by evil forces but eventually resurrected by his mother-wife Ishtar. Tammuz was worshipped throughout the Mediterranean well into the Christian era. Just as Christendom drapes its churches in black and laments the crucifixion of Jesus on Good Friday, the holy mantra, Thamus Pan Megas Tethneke, which translates, the all-great Tammuz is dead. They chanted that ceremoniously on the summer solstice by the devotees of Tammuz to observe the yearly death of their redeemed god and shepherd. It's far more likely that if Thomas, the sailor, heard anything, it was this well-known chant. For the worship of Pan remained alive and well for 2 centuries after his alleged epitaph. Okay. So the Christians claim that Thomas, the sailor, heard that the great god Pan was dead. As historically dubious as this story is, it serves to illustrate my point. Pan, who started life as the endearingly mischievous god of Thracian shepherds, eventually became the transcendent symbol of all pagan gods. His ruddy complexion, horns, and cloven hooves became in the age of Pisces the very image of Satan, the prince of evil. Does this mean that Jesus Christ will become the devil of the age of Aquarius? Probably not. But the spiritual significance of his deity will in all likelihood be drastically different from that expounded by the exoteric doctrines of the last 2,000 years. And it will surely appear to the last vestiges of the Piscean Age establishments that the new spiritual impulse is anti-Jehovah, anti-Allah, anti-Christ. and that the gods of the New Age are devils. After years of isolation on the Amanita Muscaria rich Isle of Patmos, St. John the Divine wrote down his vision of the awesome and terrible events which were to characterize the end of his age. This revelation was peopled with many strange and colorful spiritual personages, such as the 7 angels, the 4 horsemen, the lamb, the lion of Judah, the eagle, locusts, a woman clothed with the sun with a moon under her feet, a great fiery dragon, the serpent called the devil and Satan, the archangel Michael, wild beasts, one from the sea and one from the earth, and perhaps the most colorful character of all, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. It is she who becomes drunk on the blood of the martyred saints, an act that serves as a catalyst to the climactic defeat of the enemies of the Lamb. As often is the case when one explores Kabbalistic literature, the villains of the exoteric narrative become the heroes of the esoteric interpretation, and vice versa. Naturally, at the beginning of each cycle, the gods of the New Age will appear at first somewhat sinister. The more one is committed to the magical formula of the Old Age, the more evil the new gods will appear. Keeping in mind the fact that John, or whoever wrote the book credited to him, was sensitive to the spiritual change at the dawn of the Piscean age, can we in all fairness expect him to be an unbiased interpreter of the prophetic images that symbolize the forces that would in 2,000 years bring the age of his beloved Savior to an end? Perhaps for us, the whore of Babylon, the great dragon, or even the beast 666 are perfectly wholesome spiritual personifications of the mechanics of the growth spurt of a new age. Now, tomorrow and Sunday, we're going to examine a new way of looking at things. And we're going to talk about the equinox of the gods and the magical pantheon of the new aeon. And briefly, because we have the time, I'm going to just read the introduction to that. Before we move on, I wish to talk briefly about one more timeline of the ages that is of singular importance to the subject of magical pantheons. To understand this timeline, we must pool what we've learned about the astrological ages and view history from a broader perspective. This chart is not measured by years or astrological ages. Instead, its lines of demarcation are set by the most fundamental evolutionary stages of human consciousness and relate directly to our most basic perceptions of reality. There is no mightier God than that which presides over the universal self-image of the race. Whenever this self-image is amended, the magical formula which expresses the essence of this God's character is also changed. Periodically, As our consciousness expands and our understanding of ourselves and the universe improves, we find that the old ways of doing business, including magic, are no longer efficient. The beginning of such periods of profound spiritual change is called the equinox of the gods. And according to a wide spectrum of modern ceremonial magicians, the planet has just recently experienced one. Early in this century, Aleister Crowley postulated that within racial memory there have been 3 such magical aeons, to which he assigned the rulership of the 3 principal gods of Egypt, Isis, Osiris, and Horus. And my footnote says Isis, Osiris, and Horus archetypically represent mother, father, and child, respectively. We have just entered the Aeon of Horus. The previous Aeon was that of Osiris, and before that, Isis. The reader may ask at this point, what modification in human consciousness could possibly be so universal as to justify an equinox of the gods? The answer, not surprisingly, involves humanity's evolving perception of our relationship with the primary god of our solar system, the sun. In order for us to more easily understand the magical significance of the new aeon, let's take just a moment to trace the trajectory upon which our evolving solar consciousness has propelled us in the last 2 aeons. And tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll pick it up. Tomorrow we'll start by looking at the Aeon of Isis. Until then, start your weekend if you didn't start it yesterday when I encouraged you to. Continue to be good to yourself. Stay safe. Be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt. Shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will. Bye-bye.